planned. If she wasn't, why would she have been wearing...
I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought.
How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated.
Really now?
Oh, she looks angry. Why are you so mad, though? Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. I always stumble on the word detective. It's just too hard to enunciate sometimes. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive a human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. Again and again, you say?
The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it?
So, if I order pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy?
In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness. Way to go, Emma. That's actually a pretty good point.
Oh, one sec. I gotta let Snowy out. I don't know why he's crying. Yay, I did it. Okay. Now, I saw something wrong already, but let me see. 1 knife wound. I gotcha. Silly little girl.
You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that.
Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise.
I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Starr. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from 1 stab wound. Aha! You're right! Good show, Mr. Edgeworth.
What a hunk! He's my hero, really.
What about my objection? No one noticed?
Aw, Phoenix, I noticed.
Well, witness? I just read that weird.
You got the crime scene set, right?
Oh, thanks.
I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now I realize that such mistakes are possible.
So, you're saying you mistook something for blood?
When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice.
Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify.
Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. Her red muffler. Her red muffler?
Miss Starr, I demand an explanation. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work.
What?
The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself, with this photograph.
Huh? But that can't be!
Only a true professional could be so clueless. I'm sure you'll make a good lunch lady, have no fear.
Ouch, Edgeworth.
Harsh words, but good.
In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails.
What was my objection? Chopped liver?
But it was there! A scarf! No, not that, but something red, really!
Well now, where were we? I just read that really weird. The witness has given us an entertaining interlude. Now back to business.
What?
Very well, witness. Continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that.
Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least.
Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony.
The most important part?
The part where your sister stabs the victim.
She just got served. Oh, Wolf! That was brilliant. That was really well placed.
This next testimony might just be the moment of truth.
After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah, yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile.
You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you?
I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Star.
That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake.
Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten.
No thanks.
Note to self, Attorney Wright gets bitten by a snake. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum.
I don't know. Oil drum? Hard to imagine.
Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Ow!
Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will.
Ow!
I don't know. Why row and not roar? I don't know. That was weird.
Are we? Yawning.
You say quickly. Were you close to the suspect?
As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time.
Maybe I should press her for more details? I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The Lunchland car was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So you witnessed the murder from here? That would make it about 30 feet away from the car, yes. Is that correct, Miss Starr?
Yes, that's right.
But there was a chain link fence in front of you.
I went over it, of course.
Amazing! The Cough-Up Queen lunch lady, athlete indeed.
It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast.
Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. How come Miss Sky didn't get away? She mentioned the muffler? What exactly did she say?
If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony.
Cheeky.
Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler.
Just that one word? So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else?
Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone.
Her phone? You mean this cell phone? By phone, do you mean this cell phone discovered at the crime scene?
Yes, ultimately.
Ultimately?
My memory. It's like a salmon heading upstream, you see.
No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr.
The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall.
On the wall? That's right. Near the car. There was an emergency phone on the wall.
Apparently it was out of order.
And so she used her cell phone? Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day. Good witnessing, witness. Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying?
Rice buns? You mean a rice ball?
You should, of course, add this to your testimony.
The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. She's got onigiri in her hair. Well, on her hat. Onigiri.
Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court? Aha! I was going to ask the same thing.
I'll only say this one time, so listen close, rookies. The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. Then she picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. How could you know that? So she pulled her own cell phone out of her pocket.
And you just flew over the fence. And during that time, you climbed over the chain link fence.
Then, when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone.
And you saw her doing this?
What is it, Mr. Wright?
I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Skye. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias.
Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You, who together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago.
Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this?
I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me and I'll make you cough it all up.
Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Skye making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it.
Warg! Another warg. What is a warg?
Order! Order! What is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies.
I love Phoenix so much. He's such a cornball.
That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question? Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about what she saw or where she saw it. She tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. It would be pointless for her to lie about it. Pointless to lie? I see. The witness did actually see Miss Skye using the emergency phone. In other words, Miss Starr witnessed the crime from a different location. A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard one. Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard until now points in one direction. The place from where Miss Starr witnessed the crime was here. This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room? Indeed, the security room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second level, so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime in the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Starr?
How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today, a man has got the better of Angel Starr.
Order! Order! Witness! What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better.
I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished. And I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails.
The guilty? Is she talking about Miss Skye?
Okay, Biz, have fun. Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Starr lie? It doesn't make sense.
Huh?
She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything.
Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. That truth still stands. It still stands? I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason. So, tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright. Huh? Me? Who else?
Mr. Wright, let's review what we know.
Miss Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference, but what? What would change? It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear.
Oh, really? How come, May? Wait, is that a good thing? I'm guessing because you're smiling, but...
The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see. What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Skye? Well, witness? Yes?
You ordered the squid wheels, right?
The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible.
I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend.
Boysenberry for the boyfriend.
He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. Oh, interesting. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it.
Wow, she had to run all the way around. Oh my god, really?
That's why I had to go through the visitors' parking in B block.
That's quite a detour.
It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime.
5 minutes? This changes things considerably.
But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork.
You have a point, and the spork is a wonderful invention.
Would you like another caviar lunch?
Absolutely. Uh-oh.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something.
Do I have any evidence to stop this?
Well, it's better to not force yourself if you're not ready.
"5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You could make pasta in that amount of time, if you like it al dente.
I've got lunch boxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie.
A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange? If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone. But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run, but this time was different. Miss Skye dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable.
Yarg! What's a yarg?
Well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. She has a grudge against the defendant, and there's a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go? Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history.
We did it! We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright!
That was too close. I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned.
That's it, that's the case. Kidding. Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right?
That's the one she tried to foist off on me. I prefer to not take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say?
I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence.
What was that? Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes? My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr.
Ah. Is this your jumbo lunchbox?
Woohoo! A triple-decker! Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence.
Like the Lunchland motto says, you won't be disappointed.
What's she gonna pull out of her lunchbox this time?
I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other was the defendant, Miss Lana Sky's blood. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence.
What? There was blood found on that shoe?
Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs.
Objection!
Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence?
Simple. As I've already said. I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself.
And you had blood tests performed?
Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics.
In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence.
What?
You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating.
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen.
You can at least study some evidence law, really.
The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. Well, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness, sorry.
Anything to ensure that the guilty are properly? That's not a word. Are properly charged. I mean, I don't know what she said. God damn it.
Very well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine your bum.
Whee!
I can't let this evidence go through without a fight.
You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some, like your client. She's in enough hot water to make a whole batch of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with this shoe?
A problem? This is critical. What's wrong with the victim's shoe?
Oops, no! No! I pressed the wrong thing again. God damn it. Stop it. Stop talking. Stop talking, please. I made a mistake. Please stop talking. Thank you. Here we go. Let's try that again. There's a problem.
If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there is one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction.
That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with the evidence. We gotta... I wonder if you noticed. There's blood on the bottom of this shoe.
Don't mess with me, rookie. Or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe.
Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of the shoe?
What? Like, how do you even... blah.
The problem lies in the footprint.
The footprint?
Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime? Aha! As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe. This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. If there were bloody prints, they would have been found. We checked the scene and found nothing of the sort. Order! 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 Well, witness?
What? Huh? Great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction. But then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint.
Oh, that's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint.
Think, Mr. Wright, think.
Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions.
What?
I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There's one vital hint to the truth in her testimony. What are you talking about? Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect.
The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr! Rawr is really awkward to say. Rawr. Rawr.
I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty?
Oh, that, I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory.
Witness, well, was the oil drum empty?
The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water.
Water? What does that mean? Still don't get it, Mr. Wright? Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? Aha! You don't mean... Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her. Warg! Again, always warg.
Always warg.
That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoe tie her quite clearly to this murder. Then after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs.
Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty. Erasing evidence.
That reminds me, Miss Sky's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she'd cut herself when she stabbed him?
So, my sister's blood on the shoe, that's when it happened?
Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial.
Mr. Wright, do something, please!
What? What can I do? Your sister's confessed to the crime, and she tried to conceal it.
But...
Enough! There's no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor. Very well. I read that really derpy.
But Angel Star's on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water.
This court finds the defendant Miss Lana Sky.
Oh. Little girl, what did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well, I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox? A lunchbox called evidence.
Wait, witness, don't tell me you have something else. You've reached your verdict, Your Honor. Any further comments will be held in contempt of court.
Your threats don't scare the cough-up queen. Look at this!
A photograph?